I am looking underneath the truck for any puddles of fuel, oil, or coolant, and I do not see any hanging wires. All my lenses in the front of the tractor are not broken, not missing. They are all the proper color, and they are all clean. I take a step back and inspect to verify the vehicle is sitting level in the front side to side and on the side from front to back. I use 3 points of contact to open the hood. I check the engine and transmission for fluid and air leaks. There are no puddles or leaks on the ground, no air leaks coming from my engine, and there are no dripping fluids coming from both. I ensure there are no fluids on the brake drum and lining. For the dipstick, the oil is at the proper level. I pull out the dipstick, wipe it clean, reinsert it, and make sure the oil level is between add and full. I don't have to pull it out for the examiner, just explain how I would check it. I check the coolant and power steering reservoirs. The reservoir lines are between minimum and maximum. I can check by the lines on the side and there are no leaks. For the steering system, the gearbox is securely mounted and not leaking. All steering hoses and connections are not cracked, worn, or leaking. The steering system has no missing nuts, bolts, or cotter keys. I check the steering linkage. The arms and rods from the box to the wheel are not worn or cracked, and the joints are not worn or loose. I inspect the spring mounts, which are in the front and back. They are not cracked or broken, and they have no missing hardware. The leaf springs are not cracked or broken, and they are not missing or shifted. If applicable, the airbags are not cracked or leaking and are securely mounted. The shock absorber is not cracked, broken, or leaking, and is securely mounted. I check the brake lines or hoses. They are not cracked or leaking, and supply air to the brake system. The hoses and fittings are securely tight. For the brake drums and lining, there are no contaminants, such as oil, grease, etc. I inspect the tires, checking the inside and outside sidewalls and tire tread. There are no cuts, no tears, or exposed wire. The tread depth is 432 seconds or more, which I check with a tread depth gauge. I also check for proper inflation with an air pressure gauge. The valve stem is accessible. It is not cracked or broken, and the cap is present and tight with no leaks. I check the rim inside and outside. The bolt holes are not cracked or distorted. There is no damage or repair welds, and there is no rust to show the rim is loose. The studs are not cracked or loose, and there is no missing hardware. I inspect the lug nuts. All are present and tight, with no shiny threads or rust trails, and no broken studs. I check the side of the vehicle lenses and reflectors. They are not cracked or broken, not missing, and clean. For the traffic devices, the mirrors are not cracked or broken, securely mounted with no missing hardware, and they are clean and clear. I check the battery box. The batteries are secure, connections are tight with no corrosion, all cables are secure and not cracked or worn, and the battery box door or cover is secure and opens and closes properly. I check the DEF tank and fuel tank. Both are securely mounted, caps are tight, and there are no leaks from the tanks or the lines. I inspect the frames of the truck, trailer, and tandems. There are no cracks or broken welds, no damage to the frame, cross members and tandems, and no holes in the floor. For sliding tandem trailers, the tandem release pins and/or release arm are secure. I check the air and electric lines and connectors. Connections on the truck and trailer are seated and sealed, not damaged and locked in place. The hoses and lines are not cracked, cut, chafed, spliced, taped, or worn, and they are not tangled, crimped, pinched, or dragging on the vehicle or the ground. I inspect the fifth wheel skid plate. It is not cracked or broken, securely mounted to the platform, with no excessive wear and properly greased. The kingpin and apron are not cracked, broken, bent, or worn. The apron is flat on the skid plate with no gap, and the kingpin is in place and properly greased. I check the locking and safety devices. The lock jaws are around the kingpin. There is no free play when I do the tug test, and the release arm is in the closed position with the safety latch in place. The tractor has a sliding fifth wheel, and I inspect the locking pins. They are not cracked or broken and are in the locked position. I check the landing gear and clearance. It is fully raised. The crank handle is secure and there is no missing hardware. The support frame and pads are not cracked or broken, and there is proper clearance from the tractor to the landing gear. The vehicle should not get caught up during turns. I inspect the reflective tape on the side and rear of the trailer. It is present and affixed securely to the trailer. Finally, I check the lenses and reflectors at the rear of the trailer. They are not missing, not cracked or broken. They are of proper color and clean.